No, I think I just want to get the lights, the AC. I'm just going to grab a water.
Hear you.
Computer? Oh, no. So that means she's supposed to be off duty. You coming in, Michael?
Lisa said, yeah, can I help you with
I have
it?
some people online and they did the sound and music for me. Okay. All right. Welcome, welcome. We're going to start in child's pose today. That always gets a funny reaction. And we're going to try to support ourselves, right? So like if there's too much deep bend in the knees, then you can put a little bit of support between your ankles and have your hips elevated. Try to rest your head. If getting the head to the floor feels challenging, put something under your forehead. The props are meant to help us fill gaps, and there are gaps in the body, right? If your hips are in the air just because not because your knees won't bend, but just because you're too far forward, you can actually let your hips move back toward your heels. Yeah. So see if you can let yourself kind of curl in. We're not going to stay too long because I can already see that this is not a happy place for some. I mean, for some of us, it's our favorite pose, and some of us, it's the worst. Some of us love happy baby, some of us hate it, right? And so it's just funny how we're all built a little bit differently. Take a nice long, deep breath in. And then open mouth, exhale out. That's it. Then we're going to come up onto the hands and knees. And has the sound balanced out at home, the voice and the music? Okay, good. Just want to make sure everybody has a happy experience. All right, so hands and knees. I want you to just really slowly and really sensitively rock a little bit forward and back. Notice if it feels like your belly has fallen out toward the floor. Maybe you can pull the belly button in a little closer to the spine. And that rocking can go in really small movements, or you can make the movements a little bit larger. But it's this simple hinging of the wrist, the shoulder, the hip, the knee. Yeah. Sort of simple. Maybe one more time, you rock back and then you rock forward. And then I'm going to invite you to sit on your heels. And I know for some of you that's a no. So take the bolster between your feet, put it on like the taller side, the narrow side, and sit right on that. Right. Or sit on a blanket or stack up some stuff between your feet. And just like say good morning to your knees. Let's put our hands on our knees. Let's rub a little bit. Gently, gently, gently. Circles around the knees. It's okay. You can still make circles. Yeah. And then switch the direction. The lightest touch you could possibly create. So it almost feels like you're only touching the surface of your pants. And what we're doing is just trying to create energy, right? You can almost start to feel some heat building there, even though you're barely touching. And then if you would, take the hands to the floor and again, walk forward into your tabletop. And I'd like you to straighten the right leg, tuck the toes under, and then just push back through the right heel as you lift your chest and pull the head forward. A slight tuck in the tailbone. And just think about opening the space in the knee joint, like pushing back through the heel, making the leg feel super long, like lines of energy could move so easily through that leg all the way up to the crown of your head. And keep the weight even in your hands so that one doesn't get more fatigued than the other. And continue to flush that breath slowly and deeply through your body. And then just as gently as you can, put the right knee back down and extend the left leg long behind you. And again, as that heel pushes back and the tailbone draws down, lift your head and pull the chest a little bit forward. And think of that as just an opportunity to make space. And the left leg is straight and the body feels long. You might even feel like your hip is pulling, like the leg is pulling out of the hip socket a little bit. Trace, pull your belly button in. I just called you Tracy and it's Jess. Yeah, draw your tailbone down. Tailbone down the other way, tuck it. Yeah, you feel how your lower back is lifting. I want that QL, I want the lumbar spine to lengthen. And then just gently put that left knee back down. And then we'll open the knees and keep the feet close and lay back down into that child's pose. This time stay on the elbows. Walk the elbows in under the chest. Feet are together, but knees are wide. Yeah, feet are together and knees are wide. And then just kind of look up a little bit. Can we look up so we have a flat back? So it's not quite a child's pose anymore, is it? The head is not on the ground. You're on the forearms. And the feet are together and the knees are wide. So if you have your head down, let's lift the head up. Look forward. Yeah, push into your elbows. Lengthen your spine. Knees are wide, 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 wide. Yep, there you go. And breathe. I'm going to take about 5 more breaths here. And then you slowly, slowly push into the elbows so that you can pull your hips up and draw your legs in a little closer. And then crawl forward on the elbows until you can lay yourself down onto your belly. Oh, it's so nice. And we'll stay on the forearms for Sphinx pose. Make sure your elbows come forward. The elbows are right under the shoulders and they kind of lift your chest up. You lift your head up. And be careful, it's really easy to have a head forward action in this pose. I want you to kind of push into the elbows and try to lift through the crown, lift up the chin a little bit. And then check yourself. Make sure you're not squeezing your glutes. I'm kind of looking around. I want to make sure we're soft back there. Just watch what happens. Everybody squeeze tight. Squeeze your glutes and your buttocks. Squeeze tight. It makes your lower back feel like locked up, right? And so if you let it go, do you feel what happens? Yeah. Sometimes it's fun to play with the opposites, right? So then you understand the value of why. And one time is good. I'm watching a lot of going on. Yeah, just soften. Put your attention into the weight of your pelvis. And just let that pubis bone and the hip bones feel really heavy on the floor. And then push into the elbows and see if you can get a little more lift out of your spine. Yeah. That's really good. Let's take one more breath. And then go ahead and bend your knees and open your knees a little bit wider and bring the soles of your feet together. That's it. And if your elbows are starting to get cranky, if your shoulders are getting cranky, just move them around a little bit, right? Maybe you move them a little bit more to the front of the room, not wider. So we want to keep the support under the shoulders. And if you want the back bend to be a little less, you walk your elbows toward the front of the mat. If you want to increase your back bend, you walk your elbows in closer to your ribs. Feel it. Try both, just like the glute squeeze, right? You get to know the why. Right? When you push the elbows back, maybe the lower back pinches. And if you walk the elbows forward, you might get into the upper lumbar spine or the lower thoracic spine. So it's okay to kind of play a little bit in your own body. Bring the feet in a little closer. Some of your feet are hanging toward the floor, so it's okay to bend the knees. Bring the feet in a little closer to you. And just breathe. And we're just going to take 2 more breaths now. So 2 more breaths. And then we'll let the feet down and we'll bring our legs back to neutral. And then go ahead and please lay your chest down. You can make a pillow with your hands. There you go. Looks like you're having trouble with your signal, Martha. So we soften a little bit here, especially moving the breath into the belly. And just feel this moment. We've been moving for 13 minutes straight. Just take a minute here. And some of you are head down. Some of you have a head turned to one side. Just if you're turned to one side, go ahead and switch to the other side. And then let's all bring our head toward the center. So forehead on the hands maybe. And then the right leg, you're gonna bend the knee and pull it out to the side. We did it on Tuesday. We did a little bit different sequence though. So I want the knee to go out wide to the side. Keep your foot on the ground. So you don't have to have your foot in the air anymore. It's just kind of a pulling out to the side. The knee pulls up toward the waist and the foot rests on the ground. And then just take a moment to assess that. How does that movement feel in your hip? And we did all kinds of stuff on Tuesday. Maybe that was preparation for today. I don't know. But I'd like you to test the waters now and see if you could turn your head to your left and then take the arms out like a T. Okay, that seemed pretty okay. So Jim, pull the right hand in as a pillow so that you give yourself a little bit of a lift and then your head can be slightly turning to the left. Is that better? Yeah. Relax where you can. Now, the right leg is the one that's bent and pulled up to the waist. I want you to keep that leg where it is, but really slowly and gently start to straighten it out to the right. Not back down the mat, but out to the side. And if you gently nudge somebody with your foot, just you're looking to your left so you could help guide your neighbor so they don't like kick you in the face or something. But I think we all have pretty good spacing. See if you can get the leg to go straight out to the side. Pull that knee up a little higher. I'll see. There you go. Yeah. How's that? I got one little Yeah. Yeah, tight. So see if you can send your breath to the inseam of your right leg. If your neck is speaking to you, put your right hand under your head so you can get a little lift and keep it turned to the left. And you know, of course, that if you straightened your right leg out and it became treacherous for you, like it became a completely uncomfortable situation, all you have to do is bend it again. Put it back where it was. Breathe. Let's take one more inhale here. And on the exhalation, bend the right knee and really slowly slide it back into place. You can say it. Yeah. And then bend both elbows so you can make a pillow with your hands and then turn the forehead down. And I see the faces that you're making. So use this moment wisely. See if you can release that tension from your body. It's an unbelievable skill that when you notice tension arise, when you see your attitude change or your facial expression change, or you feel that habitual pattern rise in you, like a clench in the belly or the jaw or the groin or the toes or wherever it is that you do your thing, when you feel that arise, to be able to pause and breathe and start the process of letting it go before it sets in. We can't stop the triggers of life from making us cringe or making us contract or making us tense, but we can monitor how long we hold it. This is a skill. This is a powerful tool to have in your toolbox. Take a long, slow, deep breath in. Open your mouth and let out that little sigh. Yeah. And then we're going to turn our heads to the right and pull the left knee out to the side, just with the knee bent. If the inner left knee or the inner left ankle feel uncomfortable against the floor, if you slide your body a little bit to the right, you might be able to get the inner knee on the mat. So sometimes you just move toward the right edge of the mat and you get a little extra cushion for the inside. And see if you can release the right foot so the top of your foot is on the floor and the ankle lengthens just a little bit. Sometimes it's good to untuck the toe. I'm talking about the straight leg now. That right leg, maybe you can untuck the toe and let the ankle lengthen in the front. Now, if you feel like a big lift underneath the left inner thigh, and if that hip is kind of hiked up, you might be able to slide your left knee out a little wider, bringing the inner thigh a little closer to the mat. And that might be exactly opposite what you need, right? If that feels like too much, then you pull it back. Now, what can you relax here? And if the turning of the head to the right feels too intense, just keep the left arm under, right? You feel like you can open your arms out like a T. Let's explore that. And having both arms out might not work for everybody. Try to relax the shoulders. Sometimes we, by accident, hike the shoulders up away from the mat. And again, it's just a process. So the left hand would become the pillow if you need support under the head. And remember that your head is turned to the right. You're looking away from your bent knee. And if it's hard to turn your head that way, then Lauren, bend your left elbow and use your left hand like a pillow. How's that? Yeah, happy, right? You got to find the way to get the body to say, okay. If the body's in resistance the whole time, you're going to miss the magic. The whole idea of this practice is learning how to melt resistance. And so if we're creating it and exacerbating it, you're not going to walk out with the same feeling of relief. And I think that's what we all come for, is that feeling of relief. We want to use the lines and the angles of the poses in order to reveal where the tensions live and give them an opportunity to let go. So your breath matters, your attitude, your facial expression all matter. Now, that left leg, we can see how it feels to start straightening it out to the side, not down the mat. And that's a curious thing. The groins and the inner thigh are tight. That's going to be a no. Or maybe not fully extended. So just kind of be with your body. And you don't have to look at your left leg in order to straighten your left leg. Trust your senses. All 5 senses are awakened in the practice. When we are in any kind of somatic or embodied experience, we are using all of our 5 senses all the time. They help keep us in the present moment. They are constantly picking up on the inputs. And so even the way you use your breath sends messages to your brain and your nervous system. And you know, both hands can be under the head if you need to. There's no reason to fight with your body. If it's fighting with you, you got to be gentle. As always, sensation comes with information. So if you're receiving information from your body, you got to respond well. You can't ignore it and plow through. There is no such thing as no pain, no gain in here. That is an old and limited belief that no longer serves us. Go ahead and take 3 more breaths. See if they can be really good ones. Maybe they have open mouth sighs on the exhalations. So that tension that's starting to bubble to the surface has a gateway that opens for its release. Yeah. And if you straightened your left leg, let's go ahead and bend it. And then eventually slide it straight down the mat. Say it out loud. And then bring both hands in. Lay your forehead onto your hands for a moment. Yeah. The legs feel interesting right now, don't they? Yeah. Let's all take a big deep breath and sigh out any expression of anything. And then if you would, please move your hands under your shoulders and slowly and gently guide yourself back to child's pose. Right, we started there. It's gonna feel good because when we pull on the groins, the lower back feels tender. And so think about not so much about how much you bend your knees, but think about tucking the tailbone. Remember, Laura, get on your elbows for me, Lori. Walk your elbows back and then tuck your tail. Yeah, does that give your the sacral ligaments, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. So we're on the elbows if we need to be, and we tuck the tailbone. Yeah, and we breathe. And this child's pose can be with the knees wide or together. You decide. And then we're going to do just like a little bit of an adjustment on the mats. So I'm going to come stand in the center of the room. And so anybody who is to this side of me, I want you to turn and face this way on your mat. So turn in this way. Yeah, I heard that. Uh-oh. And so stay in a child's pose, but just kind of turn yourself to the side. Yep. And that would mean that you guys are going to stay in child's pose, but just kind of shift yourself. So send your hips a little bit that way and your heads toward me. So kind of just turn yourself so the feet are back toward the window wall and your guys' feet are near the gong wall. How's that? And you can stagger. So if one of you moves a little bit to the left and one a little to the right, then you won't have to be like ass and toes in the face. Yeah. I get it. I know. I sometimes ask you to do weird things. I know. So staggering can be a good thing. And then remember that child's pose we did earlier, where the toes were together but the knees were apart. Let's go back to that. And then get up on the forearms. So toes are together, knees are super wide. Yeah. And we're sitting back on the heels to the best of our ability. Sometimes the knees don't let us do that, but we want to try to sit back. And then the forearms are giving us some support, yeah? Okay. Can you take your right foot out a little bit to the side and let your toes point out toward that wall? So we're coming into a frog leg. Right leg. Inner ankle, right inner ankle on the floor, heel away from the hip. Not straight though, not straight, like 90. And you're still in the center. Yeah. So the left leg is in child's pose, the right leg is in frog. Yeah. And the knee is a little wider than the hip, and the heel is a little wider than the knee. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Get a little more on your elbows. Yeah. Yeah. Are we okay? So when you're leaning on the elbows, I want you to lift your chest and your gaze a little forward. Pull the belly into the spine. Notice what happens if you tuck your tailbone or you lift your tailbone, right? Just that little bit of change in the pelvis might make the bones a little more agreeable. Yeah. I can tell how much you love this. Yeah, so I'm going to ask you to be with me on this. Just close your eyes and breathe. Close your eyes and breathe. Yeah. I know that you're feeling sensation, and know that that sensation is coming with information. And you know, if it's like a dull discomfort, you know you can abide in that. If it's sharp, tearing, burning, tingling pain, that's something different. Then call on me and I will come over and I'll work with you. But being able to abide in a little discomfort or be in a pose that you don't do very often, I think that we can actually learn how to make peace with that. And it's really going to be 3 more breaths. Come back to that breathing. And as you complete the 3rd and final breath, that right foot is going to come back in, toe to toe, knees wide. Pause for a moment. It should be a pretty happy moment. Right? There's something sweet about that. And you can stay on the elbows, or if you want to come off the elbows, you can. The head can go down on the forearms, or you can walk forward. This is a moment in between. Yeah. And from this moment in between, it's kind of rough when you first class with me as a frog class. I'm probably not making friends over here, right? Tuck tail means like your tailbone either lifts up or it tucks under, right? So repositioning the pelvis in an anterior tilt or a posterior tilt. Yeah, you're welcome. I was just gonna say I'm not making friends having frog be your first class with me. I was coming over to make friends. No. I just wanted to make sure that you were with me and not, yeah, but not wanting to run out of the room. So we get back up on the forearms and then we do the left side. And so we just try to bring the left foot out a little bit. Point the toes out. So you're on the inner ankle. There's a little pressure on the knee. Try to flex that foot out. Yeah. So the toe comes out, the inner ankle is on the mat. And we try to get the knee a little wider than the hip and the foot a little wider than the knee. And then we try to reconcile that. I think your brain is going like, wah, 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 right? And so, like, can you just find the calm in it? Right? There's a trigger. How do we use our tools? Can we lift the head and the chest and find a little support? Can you play with the angle of the pelvis? Does it feel different if you lift your tailbone or you drop your tailbone down? And is there somewhere in between that makes this a little more manageable? What about moving forward or moving back? Some of you look like you're stuck back and you could come a little more forward. Walk your elbows forward, Jean. I think you're staying right there. Yeah, so 1 breath at a time. This is definitely one of those poses that makes you check your watch. Yeah, I know all the tricks. Don't worry, I've got the clock for you. And I'm holding you in this moment. I really am. And your breath is holding you in this moment. And we're doing our best to abide in a little bit of discomfort, to keep the nervous system calm and not triggered. And then we'll just take those last 2 breaths here. And you'll know that as you finish that breath, you can pull the left foot back in, and we're going to be toe to toe. And then we sit back into the child's pose. And you can modify child's pose. It could be hands and knees, right? You just got to find the way that works for you. But see, make sure that you're taking care of your hips and your lower back. Don't force the knees. You can do it from here. Yep. Yeah. Right, as you tuck that, then the groins shorten and the crease of the hips deepen, but you don't have to go so deep into your knees, right? Yeah. Yeah, be careful walking. It's kind of funny when you get up from frog. All right, so I imagine you can guess what's coming. Because you all were so good about doing them each side one at a time, it is time for the full expression of the pose. So I want you to get on your elbows and start to separate your feet, point your toes out in opposite directions. And then get on the elbows and yes, have a sense of humor about it for sure, right? Yeah, that's it. It's not our most attractive moment. Yeah, but we have to have a sense of humor here. And some of us, right? Some of us love this pose. And some of us struggle with this pose. And very often the teachers don't teach it because we get this kind of reaction from you. Just open your feet up. You're doing it with ease too. I'm not actually enjoying it. But I didn't do any of the warm-ups that you did either. I just kind of walked right into it. So, yeah. Yeah. Yes. And so again, our breath is our friend. You can make modifications, like instead of pushing back or leaning forward, you can find that place that is tolerable, right? In between. Different too. Like I think it's great that you can lay out so flat like that. Like I can too, but I feel like I feel more when I get my hips like up and back. Yeah. Does that feel different than laying flat? Because I have access like you do. I can go flat. Yeah, so you can go back where you want. It was more a suggestion. That's default. Yeah. All right. I can feel you at the end of your rope, right? And so when we get to that moment, what do? We take 3 breaths. Because you can do anything for 3 breaths. And if, God forbid, you find yourself in a really challenging moment or a really, really tough moment in your life, you stop and you take 3 breaths. Now, at the end of that 3rd breath, you're on your elbows, so you're lifting your chest. You're going to slowly start to bring both of your feet in. Let the toes touch. That's the beginning. Then get up on your hands slowly, and then bring your knees together to touch and just say it. Yeah. Yep. And then can you sit on your heels? Yeah. And you can put props back there. You know, if you can't, if some of your knees won't let you do that, sit for a moment, right? Maybe you sit on something, right? Like that, maybe. Yeah. And then close your eyes, let your hands come to rest on your legs. Can you hold your spine up? So we're only halfway to letting it pass, okay? We're almost there. Again, find yourself in those 3 long, slow, deep breaths. And then I'd like you to keep your knees bent, but let your hips go to one side. And then swing both of your legs around in front of you with them bent. And then go ahead and lay yourself down onto your mat. Here comes that full release. You lay your back down, you lay your legs out, and you'll feel the rest of it. You got 50% out, and here's the other 50. Yeah. I love how expressive you are today. Thank you. Okay. Lay still for a moment. Just notice what you feel deep inside the hips. See if you can relax as much as you can, right? All the way up into the hip socket, into the bone structure. Separate your feet a little bit. Just let them fall. So there's no holding, there's no tension around the hip joint. Loose and heavy legs. Let's all take a long clearing breath, filling up, filling up, filling up. And then opening your mouth and letting out a little sigh. So I feel like the energy in the room shifted. So for all of the negative thoughts that were flying around a few minutes ago, I feel like you have forgiven me. Yeah? Not yet? Go ahead and draw your knees into your belly. Rock a little bit side to side. Do it in a way that feels like you're getting a massage on your lower back. Move your hips, move your legs. Lean into sensation. Sometimes I lean a little right or I lean a little left, and there's something good in there, and you kind of just press in on it. So it doesn't have to be constant movement. Sometimes there's a really sweet hold. And I'll give you some time if you've been in a hold in one side. See what happens if you explore the other side. And then we'll just find our way back to center. And then put one hand on each knee and open up the knees a little bit wide. See how wide they can go, and just let the feet dangle. You don't have to do anything with your feet. Just feel the weight of the lower leg. Feel the feet heavy. Just let them be. Just gently holding your knees with your hands. And then let the arms straighten. So the knees move away from you a little bit. You're still holding your knees. But as the arms straighten, the legs move away from you, and the fingertips help the legs from falling to the floor. So you're still holding, you're not pushing. So Regina, hold like this, hold gently with you, and then just, yeah, then let them dangle. Can you feel the weight of the legs now? Yeah. So our hands are not white knuckling the knees. there, gently holding the knees and then letting the legs go to the length of the arms, like just so they just kind of end up like, yeah, like just kind of dangling there. And as the hips open and widen, you feel so much less pressure than in the frog, yeah? It's like nice and wide, but the work is just happening from gravity, not from your body weight. And you breathe in nice and easy. Thanks. Feet thing. Yeah. Something nice about that. And let's just take a few more breaths here. And then I'll invite you to just release the hold on your left knee and let your left foot come back to the mat. The knee will be bent. The knee, whoops, I stopped you on purpose. The knee will be bent and the sole of your foot will rest onto the floor. And then we'll open up the right leg into half happy baby pose. Half happy baby pose. Yeah. And that means you reach for your ankle or your foot. I like actually holding the ankle because it's just not quite as far away, right? And there's this thing. Remember how you kind of gave up some of the weight of your leg in that dangle pose? The same thing can happen here. You let the weight of your leg kind of melt toward the floor, and your left hip might tip away from the mat. That would be okay. So we want to soften tension, not create it. So if you have to grip the outer left hip, then you're creating more tension where we're trying to get rid of tension, right? You okay there? Okay. And a nice soft look on your face, right? Check your lips, check your eyes, your eyebrows. I swear, I think yin yoga is better than Botox. Yeah. Because you actually start to know your habitual patterns and you feel yourself doing them. And then you start the process of undoing them. Yeah. And we're not trying to jam that right leg into any position. We're just allowing it. That's crazy good. Just keeps melting. All right. So one thing I will suggest is that the left foot is straight in front of the left hip and the knee is straight up and down and not falling out to the left side. Yeah. So maybe just a tiny bit of press on the left big toe might just help keep it in place. Yeah. And we're still breathing. We're still calming the nervous system. Half happy baby should be a breeze compared to frog pose, right? On another day, this could have been the peak pose of the class. And today it's our softening, right? It's our winding down. Now, I want you to leave the right leg exactly as it is, but just let go of it. You don't have to hold it. It's weird how it stays, right? And then I want you to cross the right knee over the left knee. So not ankle to knee, but knee to knee. Oh, yeah, that's good. Crossing the midline. And so we're knee over knee, and we're going to rest. You don't have to do anything crazy here, but just let that repositioning of the hip work on its own. Relax that ankle, Martha. Yeah, relax your foot. There you go. Let's all take the arms up overhead, relaxing the weight of the arms onto the floor, and giving just a little more space for the breath to run free. You can leave the arms up, but just simply uncross the right. And once that foot touches down, slide the right leg straight out, and then let the left one come out to meet it. Yeah. Ah. A little space between your legs, a little bit of releasing from the inner groins. Just allowing a space for some softness. And if you need to have an expressive exhale, or if you need to sigh or moan or whatever you need to do, just like let it process. Don't hold it back. Don't stuff it back down. Just kind of like slough it off, sigh it out, breathe it through, rinse it out. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to bring our arms back down by our sides and our knees back in toward the belly. And we're going to find that dangle pose again, where the fingertips kind of hold the knees, and we then let the arms lengthen so the feet can kind of hang toward the floor. We go wide and far away. Lower back could be kind of flat here. And you start to feel gravity take the weight of your legs. And so the knees move not only wide, but as far away from you as your arms will allow. So Ellen, try moving the knees toward the front of the room till your arms straighten. Yeah, and then let the feet hang there. Is that okay? Okay, good. I want to soften the crease of the hip a little bit. So it resembles frog, but it's so much nicer, right? It's wide and it's far away, but it's gravity. So just try to enjoy it. Just let your body remember. And we'll just take another breath or two here. And the simple release is going to be right foot to the mat. Put the sole of your foot down. The knee is bent and the sole of the foot is on the ground. So make sure your right knee is bent and the sole of your foot is flat. And give yourself that gentle little press into the big toe so that your knee isn't falling open. And then the left leg comes into the half happy baby. We reach for the ankle, I think, ideally. Some of you reach for the foot. Sometimes from the inside, you could reach for the heel. There's a lot of different ways to grab. And I can bring you a strap. Does anybody want a strap? I see a hand. Okay. And then start to let gravity work. So relax any gripping that you might be feeling around the right hip, because I don't want the right hip to inhibit the movement of the left one melting toward the floor. So we go wide and then we bend, so it's not the hamstring. There you go. And if your body leans a little to the left, it's okay. The right hip can be a little higher as the weight of the left leg continues to melt toward the floor. Try to let go a little bit on the right side. You don't need to, yeah, it's okay if that happens. I don't know why we resist, but we do, because look, yeah, just let it soften. Oh, look what happens. And then maybe just hold onto your ankle. Yeah, and let the weight of your arm just be enough to keep it there. Yeah. Every pose is an invitation. Every sensation is filled with information. Every day that we have the privilege to get on the mat, we're learning. We're tuning into the five senses, abiding in the present moment, revealing all of the places and the patterns that are holding the tensions of our life, and being given a really beautiful opportunity to melt some of them away, to release them and let them go. Be careful how hard you work here. This class was meant to be gentle, even though it's deep, even though it's challenging. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's slightly off balance. And then, yeah, that's so good. Does it hurt? And then just sort of relax across here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. There is a softness in the poses. It's just not always hard, easy to find it. And we are actually, that is what we're looking for. Steady and effortless. And so when big sensations arise, that's like telling you you're going the wrong way. You know? It doesn't have to be so hard to be gentle with ourselves. Now, we're going to let that left leg be exactly where it is, but just let go of the gripping of your hand. Oh, put your arm on the ground for a sec. And then move the left leg so you can cross left knee to right knee. Yes, make a sound with that one. Yeah, oh, so good. So we're knee to knee. There's no space between the legs. And the arms can go up overhead, and you can really just let the shape of the pose do the work. I mean, there couldn't be anything more opposite to what we've been doing to this. Let the inner thighs melt into each other. Let the inner groins have a nice deep crease, a nice bend. And just soften and move your breath around freely. It's amazing how much can get done doing nothing, right? Just allow the intelligence of the body to work on what you've given it. Trust your breath. Now I'd like you to gently just draw the left knee toward the, no, actually, let's uncross. We'll do what we did on the other side. When the left foot touches down, slide it out straight. And then bring the right one down to meet it. I think you deserve a moment of that. The arms can stay up or down, whatever you prefer. Ah, bless you. Bless you. All right, both knees draw into the belly for a good squeeze. Should be a good moment, an organic moment. You can squeeze as much or as little as you want to, or narrow or wide. And then we're going to take both legs into spinal twist to the right side. Be as gentle as you can. Let the hips and the lower back and the legs all move to the right. And then turn your chest open toward the left and look to the left side. And then even here in this soft moment, could you find a way to soften even more? And it could be a prop. Maybe we elevate the feet or put a spacer between the knees. Check your facial expression, your jawline, the root of the tongue and the space behind the eyes. See if you can make it softer. And see if you can become witness of the breath. Can it in this moment be a little bit more expansive? Not because you're trying to push it further, but because you're just softer. You notice that it can expand itself a little bit more deeply through the body. Mm-hmm. As gently and as slowly as you can, come up and around to the other side. If you want to pause in the middle, you can. If you need to move your props over to the other side, you do that. Be gentle with yourself and know that gentle movements and deep relaxation are where most of our healing occurs. And we let the arms go. And we tune into the breathing. So just a little elevation on the feet sometimes helps the knees to drop a little bit. You don't have to squeeze them together. You actually want to let the weight of the legs fall with gravity. And it's okay if there's a space between the legs. Yeah. Squeezing them is just going to add tension, and not squeezing them might release tension. So let your focus and your work be all in the breath right now. Let's all find our way back to the center. And if you're ready to lay it out for Shavasana, go right ahead. If you feel like you need to pull the knees in for a squeeze, you go ahead and do that. Cindy and I are going to come around. And we're going to bring your cloths. So as you're settling into your relaxation, if you hear us, I love that you have manners and gratitude, but you don't have to open your eyes and say thank you. I mean, if you happen to catch your eyes open, that's one thing. I think sometimes you guys hear me as quiet as I try to be. And once you have the cloth, it'll be by your left shoulder. You can use it to cover your eyes, since we get so much beautiful daylight in here. One breath at a time, we begin to awaken. And we embrace all of the parts of ourselves. So sometimes it's movement in the body, sometimes it's a thought that comes in. It may just be blinking open of the eyes and reconnecting with your senses. And so our intellect, our bliss, our breath, our body, our emotions, all of the parts that make us each uniquely us. Pull it all together. Gather yourself up and find your way into a seated position. Okay. So, as always, thank you, especially today. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for going to those uncomfortable places. I know that that's not always what you buy in for when you come here. And sometimes it's a little gentler, you know. And to my friends at home, to Connie Reiser, who I love so much and is moving on to Louisville. I hope we stay connected through the Zoom. We will miss you dearly in our community, but I think home is the right place to be. And to Nikki and to Darren and Laura, Sarasota, Maxine and Debbie, Nancy and Leslie, who was here for a little while, and Brittany, who's back in California, to all of you, and Martha, who's with us presently. And all of you matter to me. All of you count wherever you tune in from, whether you're here in this room or you're in the Zoom or you are on the recording. I feel the connection. I know that our relationship continues, even if we can't always be in the same space. What a beautiful gift that we got from such a horrible time in life, you know? Let's bring our hands together at the heart. And just in pure gratitude, let's open our mouths and let the sound of Om come out. And last night, when I suggested that we do it with a little more open mouth and that we allow the sound to come out instead of inhibit it and being shy, we created the most beautiful Om I've heard in a really long time. And so just like the sound, think Om, like it's not Om like this. It's like let your mouth open, like so the sound just moves through you. It's vibration, right? Don't be afraid of it. And let's just see what happens. Take a deep breath with me. Oh. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, perfect peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May the actions of my life and all of our lives somehow contribute to that happiness and that freedom for all. May we all know peace. May we all know love. May we all know ease. May we always use our yoga for good. Namaste, my friends. You're so welcome. Happy Thursday, everybody. All right, so enjoy a beautiful day. And I will see you next week, right? There's no more yins. It's Thursday, right? Yeah. Tomorrow is Vinyasa Flow at 11, 12:30 sound bath, and 1:15 lunch and learn. It's our book club for Yoga Journey, and we always pick books that you don't have to be reading to be able to join the conversation. So if you're curious about stepping into community, yoga, there's all kinds of yoga. There's bhakti yoga, there's yana yoga, there's karma yoga, there's Raja yoga. So we do all of it here. The yana yoga is the yoga of knowledge. And so our book club is always centered around spirituality or yoga topics. We're reading a book right now by Mark Nepo called The Book of Awakening. And it's just a different spiritual reading every time, and that will spur a conversation. And it's a beautiful group. We have like 15, 20 regulars that come all the time. And there's always people that float, especially teacher trainees, anyone who's interested in exploring this thing of community and like an elevated conversation. Come and join us, 1:15 on Fridays. And sound bath, it's like a triple header on Fridays. It's a really nice, like a little mini retreat. You come in and move, then you get a sound bath, then you connect with community, and then you go home. Bye, Anna. It's nice to see you. All right. This weekend is also chair training. If anyone's interested in exploring that, chair training is Saturday and Sunday with Ruth and Shona. And I'm not going to announce anything else because you guys are ready to go. And we have meditation right now, right, with Ellen.